Welcome to the DGD podcast. As always, the NCDGD himself, Robert Reynolds. Start off the show, folks. We have a special guest, Dwight Standridge, runs Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer. If you're not familiar with it, this is the Vanderbilt preview show. With that being said, Dwight is here to talk about the pink out for this weekend and also about Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer. As you all know, uh, Dog Nation is Team Trailer. Obviously, we are there with her and for everybody fighting and battling breast cancer. Welcome to the show, Dwight.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate the time and you having me on the show.
Absolutely. And listen, I think it's worth noting that we have to do our due diligence here, to talk about the situation at hand, right? Obviously, we're playing Vanderbilt, but there's more to it, right? It's outside of football, and that's where we are here. Battling breast cancer. First things first, I want to give you. Can you give us a little background on Bulldogs battling breast cancer?
Yeah. Uh, Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer came about in 2004. Uh, Jay and Teresa Abbott of Douglasville are the founders of the charity. I came on a few years later. Me and my wife, Leslie, came on, and I guess you could say Jay and Teresa and me and my wife, Leslie, are really the core of the charity. We've got, multiple very generous partners and sponsors, tons of volunteers that help us carry out what we do. But in 2004, they had a son, Chris, who was playing at UGA, and Teresa was diagnosed with a very aggressive stage 3 breast cancer. They told her she had a 45% chance of surviving. And during that time, as far as Chris was concerned with the football team, Coach Rick and the football team became his, extended family, helping him uh, navigate all the treatments and everything while Teresa was going through that. For a time, he really wanted to quit, and Teresa and Jay talked him out of it. Um, Fast forward to now, she's a 19-year survivor of breast cancer, and is after she was cleared and Chris was graduating, they went to Coach Rick uh, and asked him if the football team would participate in a golf tournament. At that time, they were raising money for Susan G. Komen, and it was supposed to be a 1-year deal. They had the tournament. UGA football players came out and participated, and it was very popular. Afterwards, they got bombarded with questions, when is the second one? And Coach Rick, he told them, he said, carry on, we'll be glad to participate in it as long as I'm here. And true to his word, he did. He was a very staunch supporter of Bulldogs battling breast cancer. Him and the football team really helped get us off the ground, just partnering with them and us being able to get the notoriety and publicity of, having a partnership with the UGA football team that's a pretty good calling card. So now we're going into our 20th year of the UGA Bulldog Charity Classic, and um, over the past 4 or 5 years, we've been able to branch out at the university. We now we're 5 years into partnering with UGA Hockey, the UGA Spike Squad, the Paint Line, and last week the UGA Equestrian team reached out to us, and we'll be partnering with them at their meet October 22nd versus Texas A&M. But uh, just speaking to the pink out, uh, I approached the Spike Squad and the Paint Line about 5 years ago, and the first year I was blown away because you're used to looking over there in that corner and seeing those guys in red and black, and to look at that, the full stadium of 93,000 uh, of Dog Nation's finest, and look in that one corner of the student section where those two groups are and see it totally encased in pink uh, was pretty special. And we've been able to build on that the last 2 or 3 years. Like I said, both those organizations are great to partner with. We got a lot of publicity 3 years ago when Arkansas State came in and Coach Anderson had just suffered the loss of his wife to breast cancer, and we were able to organize the Wear Pink for Wendy. Spike Squad and Paint Line were very crucial to that. He spoke volumes to that. And then the last couple of years, being able to reach out and partner with Keely Ringo and his mom, Tralee Hale, and sort of, raise awareness to her journey. And she's such a great, outgoing personality. She's great to partner with, and to have gone through what she's gone through is speaks volumes to her character and perseverance.
No, 100%. Obviously, this is something that, right, I think a lot of people are impacted by, right? The whole, breast cancer situation, right? Just in the chat alone, Joe and Tanil have experienced this, or whether it be indirectly, right, through someone else.
Right.
There's so many people that are impacted with this that, obviously we may not know, right? You may not know who or whatnot, but to be able to unify for one cause is always something fun. I remember seeing that game. I remember, you talked about the Arkansas State game, and I remember it was one of those things where it was, to me, I felt like it was more than a stunt because it's so relatable, right? There's so many people that can relate to someone battling cancer, right? Obviously, in this instance, breast cancer specific. But at the same time, you look at Bulldogs battling breast cancer, and it's become a real popular thing, right? I think it's really took wings and flown up and grown. And going back to the Twitter, I think an hour ago, I think the goal for the Bulldogs battling breast cancer is $250 pledged per UGA point. And if I'm not mistaken, an hour ago, I think the Twitter had said that they're halfway already. And to me, I feel like that's just a testament to how well people can unify, right? I think it's just impressive to see that kind of donation and willingness to, like I said, to come together for one cause.
Yeah, it is. It speaks volumes. I've been on Twitter probably 4 or 5 years, and the Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer account is 3 years old. And I can't tell you how many friends I've made through Twitter. I've made a lot of tailgate friends, and we have a saying, Dog Nation and Dog Twitter is undefeated. When you throw something out there and give them a challenge, they always show up and show out. And just to speak to the points pledge, we do the points pledge every year in October to try to drive and raise money for breast cancer awareness. And I failed to mention earlier, the last 15 years or so, we partnered with St. Mary's Hospital right here in Athens. It's local. Every dollar we raise goes to a fund they created called Teresa's Hope, in honor of Teresa Abbott. And when we first got involved with it, we were donating a check of $7,000 or $8,000 for the year. And as we've grown and started having more events and started getting more publicity and more popularity, the last 5 or 6 years, we've donated a six-figure amount. So all told, we've donated right at $1.5 million here.
Wow.
And St. Mary's uses the money to provide free mammograms for women who can't afford it, to buy new equipment such as mobile mammography machines, and to just educate on the importance of getting early screenings. It's so important to get those screenings early to lessen the effects if something was seen or you were diagnosed. And right before we came on air, like I said, our goal is $250 a point. I told other people I don't pick the opponents, but I'm sure glad we're playing Vandy for one of these games. that should help drive the total up. But right before I got on, we get a ton of $1, $2, $5, $10 pledges per point. Right before I got on here, I was speaking to a gentleman who pledged $40 per point. So
Wow.
Right now, the current total is 167. So we're a lot closer to the goal than we were 30 minutes ago.
That's I mean that's amazing. You don't really, yeah. Listen, obviously these donations are they're not mandatory, folks.
No,
So that's the key thing right there, right? That's people going out of their way. Um, that's going out of the way and doing something for a better cause, right? Like
right.
so that's just kind of just amazing to hear. Yeah, obviously, even as recently as before we started the show, that's wild. That's really
Yeah.
wild. I do want to leave this up for the brigade here. If you have a question about BBBC, please let us know in the comments. All right, please let us know. Right, this is a very informative segment of the show, kind of a due diligence type thing. I really felt like this was necessary. So if you have any questions about it, right, please let us know. And even after this, if you're watching this post show, drop a question. We see that.
Right.
We see, and listen, we'll answer your questions. So just keep that in mind as we continue the conversation. Okay. Um, I do want to ask Dwight. I know we've reached out. Obviously we've talked about this, his expanding out to different entities, things like that. But I'm just curious. Obviously, I'm not going to say yes or this is bad or anything. But has Vanderbilt heard of this, and have you heard any kind of things for the opposing team for this Saturday? I'm just curious.
No, I haven't heard or seen anything. I know when we
Okay.
did the Wear Pink for Wendy for Arkansas State, um, they were very active on social media, interacting with us, and just a lot of thank yous, a lot of, it's bigger than football, which it certainly is. And for that game, we got a lot of donations from Arkansas State people. So, it's bigger than football. Any donation helps. You know, like you said, it's not mandatory. And some people say, well, I can only pledge $1 per point. Well, I posted something earlier this week. It's one of my favorite expressions. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. If you get 200 people that pledge $1, that's $200 per point. Georgia scores 80 points in the two games. You've raised $16,000.
I like this man's thinking. I like this man's thinking. I
It's,
do.
nothing is too small. And if you're in a position where you can, go big or go home, you know, throw a big pledge out there. Everything's appreciated.
One of our members here in the brigade asked, "What's 63 times 250 to the answer or to the tune of 15,750?" Obviously, that is a 63 DGD himself. But listen, I think at the same time, right? Like you said, right? Not everybody's built from the same cloth in regards to financial stability, right?
Right.
So listen. If you're listening to this, and obviously if you're seeing it, you know, there's no shame in donating just $1, right? Like you don't have to. And listen, we understand. We're like you said, like Dwight's saying, it's not a mandatory thing. So if you're listening, don't feel obligated to do this if you don't have the means. Please don't put yourself in a bind. But
No.
it's just wild to think that, like I said, coming together, $250 a point. And listen, like I said, I like this. I like Dwight's thinking. All right, 80 points. That sounds pretty juicy, right? I mean, and we'll
And
talk about. Go ahead, Dwight.
and 80 points is very doable. I think 45 to 56 points versus Vandy and 30ish 35 points versus Florida. I'm good.
Ooh.
But like I said, it's not required. If you can't donate and you see it on social media, help spread the word, retweet it, share it, um, and really the the basis for this weekend is to drive awareness that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we've got a lot of groups here in Athens that uh, want to come together and and put that out there, and just like I said, raise awareness, raise publicity, get it in front of everybody, and everybody's affected by it.
As we see in the comments here, five fingers clenched together makes a mighty fist, and I think that's um, a great term to use, a good phrase there. Just show you the perspective of things. Um, Listen, so you said you're at like 60 in the 60 range or 160 some, excuse me. And it's only been going for what? How long has this been going? The social media push, if you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I put it out there Monday morning. So we're 48, little over 48 hours in. Uh,
Whew.
Last week we did the Pink and the Reek with the hockey game. We had some other stuff going on. I didn't want to overwhelm our Twitter account with, 4 or 5 different things. So I waited until after that. Monday morning, I started shouting out the Pink Out with the Spike Squad and the Paint Line, Trey Hale, and also our points pledge. So 48 hours in, we got about 72 hours to go.
Look, I'll tell you this right now, Kirby Smart. If you're listening to me, if you're listening to the show, you ready for this? Remember 2020 where they canceled senior day. All right,
Oh, yeah.
throw up a ton of points, and you have the reason to do it for a good cause this week. Okay,
That's
simple as that, Kirby. Coach, let me
all
make sure.
breaks.
See again. I like Dwight's thinking. I can't be mad about it. Jonathan Leighton Prophet's already given a score prediction. Juan, 68 to nothing. Um, I'm not opposed to that. Obviously, we'll talk about our review right in a little bit, and also y'all know how it is. It's Wednesday, which means our college picks. But first up, listen, Dwight, it was a pleasure having you on. I feel honored, like kind of sitting here listening to the whole, Bulldogs battling breast cancer, the mission, the everything about it. Right, I enjoy it. Obviously, we know it's for a good cause, and it's just something I feel like Georgia fans take pride in. I feel like it's grown to that point. So definitely wanted to thank you for coming on and giving us the insight about it and everything we needed to know about it. Thank you for that.
Hey, no problem. Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
When I was telling you how this came about, I forgot the most important reason for me. Um, Jay and Teresa, of course, are very passionate about it. It's personal to them. When I was a freshman at UGA in 1987, I lost my mom to ovarian cancer. She was 37
Mm.
years old, and she was the most community involved, socially aware person. She was always reaching out to help other people. And when I found out that Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer donated to St. Mary's, that's where my mom was diagnosed. That's where she took a lot of her treatments. They treated her very well, and I'd always wanted to get involved with something to honor her. So, the past 15 years, it's been a great ride, and I have a feeling she's up there smiling down on what we're doing. So, again, guys, thanks for the time. I appreciate you letting me come in and share our platform and put it out there to your listeners.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure, and you're more than welcome anytime you want to come on, Dwight.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one, Dwight.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
With that being said, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to preview the Vanderbilt game.